Hello, gang. Welcome back to The Long Dark. My name is Lonelywolf, and this is the December Dev Diary. If you want to read it for yourselves, there's a link in the description, or if you just want a quick breakdown of it, well, here it is. There's good news and bad news in this Dev Diary. And that with that statement, everyone automatically thinks back to probably 3 explicit events. And this is probably going to be in the same vein as those events. But we'll go with the good news first to dampen the blow. So the good news is, in the wake of the disbanding of both Telltale, however you want to pronounce that, Telltale Games, and a little bit lesser known shutdown of Capcom's Vancouver studio, 200 people lost their jobs. That's bad news. The good news is Hinterland Studios scooping up several of them. They already had several ex-Capcom Vancouver people in the studio, so they're able to identify high performers. So that is good news. They're getting new people in. They've expanded their team by 6 new team members, and it's the largest expansion in Hinterland's growth in the past 5 years, or at least the most significant growth. In this, they got 2 new programmers, a new user interface or visual effects artist, and a new tester. They're also interviewing additional people who may or may not end up joining them, especially some folks from Telltale who specialize in the narrative experiences. It's a great opportunity for Hinterland, and I wish them the best, and it's a great opportunity for these people who have lost their jobs at their old studios and to give them a new home, and I wish them all the best of luck. They've also managed to pick up a lot of cameras and equipment from a motion capture studio. So they've got a whole lot of stuff. They no longer have to schedule a visit at a motion capture studio to record animation sequences for anything. They can now all do all of that in-house, which cuts down on production time for animations significantly. With all the new systems they've got going, between new hires, Unity changes, this new stuff they've got pulled in and set up here, it's going to be looking really well for Hinterland in the future. Now here comes the bad news before we get on to some more good news. The bad news is, because of all of this new stuff, all these new toys they just got, guess what? Raphael's creative itch got the better of him, and he's delayed episode 3 because of having access to all this new talent and new motion capture gear. It's a huge difference to what he thinks he can accomplish with the game, and he wouldn't be wrong in that statement. He's decided he wants to use those resources to add more content to episode 3 and to polish it more. The bad news, that means it won't be ready to ship in December. Wah, wah, wah. That's bad news for all of us, those who are only story mode players and those of us who expand between both survival mode and story mode. For those who are only in survival mode, this probably doesn't mean much to you. However, we still get episodes 1 and 2 redux for December. And they're adding a new mission named Beats to episode 1, I believe. Well, it doesn't actually say which episode, does it? No, it doesn't say it. Anyway, there's going to be one new mission, and if I recall correctly from the last Dev Diary, they don't explicitly mention it in this one. I believe the bear hunting mission in episode 2 of Luminance Fugue is the second episode. Luminance Fugue, the bear hunting mission for Jeremiah, I think will now be done with the bear spear. So that's all the good and bad news revolving around story mode. Here's some good news revolving around survival mode. There will be an update delivered to survival mode in December. Here's the biggest news for you interloper players and hardcore custom sandbox players. They're adding a new craftable hat. It looks like a bunny that's been carved up and turned into a hat. So that should be very warm, probably a bit heavy and bulky too, but that's the case with all craftables. It looks really awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. They'll also be adding a new challenge mode, a new condition buff, and multiple fixes. There may be a few more surprises in there as well, but that's going to be depending on whether they can finish them in time. That's going to be dependent on how much resources Raph puts towards episode 3 on story mode versus the sandbox update. Speaking of that, because of this new addition to their team, they're looking to split the studio. No, not like have a huge split and everyone parts their ways and goes somewhere, but to have a team dedicated to Wintermute production and a team dedicated to survival mode production. Honestly, I hope they throw all their resources they have after the survival mode update into episode 3 and then split production. I believe that would be best, but I am not Raphael, so I'm not the decision maker. Anyway, so they're looking at the possibility, nothing set in stone, of splitting the team into focusing on each. So we will no longer have a cadence of story mode update with potential survival mode update, and then a survival mode update, and then a survival mode story mode update again. We may be going into a regular cadence of survival and story mode updates shipping at the same time. Who knows? That's coming in the future. We'll see. So yeah, this is some bad news. Oh, one more thing about the survival mode update. If they do end up adding the bear spirit in Wintermute, it is likely we might see it in survival mode as well. The difference being that getting the bear spear to work in a completely scripted environment would be rather easy compared to a free-flowing, all bets are off, completely sandbox environment in any scenario to get it to work. So it's possible we may also see the bear spear in survival mode, but nothing's set in stone there yet either. This is mainly conjecture based off of the past dev diary and what we know is coming up for Wintermute. So yeah, some good news, some bad news all around. But I would say the total news on the whole is on the plus side. I would say this is probably the third time Raph's creativity has gotten the better of him to the potential detriment of the game. I wouldn't say detriment in the sense of the game will fail or be worse off because of it, but just in terms of delays. And that's been the case about 3 times now in the history of the Long Dark. But I think they have an opportunity to grow with this, and we'll see what comes. If I had to be a guessing man or a betting man, I would bet we would see episode 3 sometime in February, maybe March. It's going to depend on how much they want to add to it and how much they want to polish it. And of course, we are privy to no information on that. We'll get another update and news for everything that's going to be coming in that survival mode update in December, so be hanging around and looking around for that. And they may also give us another dev diary at that point for episode 3 for more concrete details on that. As of now, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you're looking for some guides or such, I've got links to those, some cards. And if I can keep rambling, this video will be far longer than is necessary, so stay safe, stay warm out there. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Enjoy!